Is there an art on how you follow up via email? Of course there is. Check out this video right now and see what it is. Hey, welcome to the Millionaire Recruiter. I'm Brianna Rooney, your Millionaire Recruiter. If you haven't yet seen this channel before, it is all about making you the next Millionaire Recruiter. So let's get to it. First of all, if it looks like I just got out of a workout, it's because I did. Shout out to Erin, awesome employee who did a great Zoom 15-minute workout. Thank you, it was really hard. Okay, but somehow in the midst of all that, I thought of what to do right now and I just wanted to film it for you guys. So the art of following up via email is so important. It's so crucial in any kind of recruiting market and even more so right now. So there's two sides of things. We have the candidates. Remember, it's a heavy candidate market right now. And then we have the clients. The clients are the hard ones. However, candidates are just as hard because that relationship isn't as strong as it is normally. Remember, watch every Thursday at noon because last week I just covered that on how you can make your relationship strong with your candidates. So make sure you check that out. All right, so following up via email, how do you do it? What's the right way? How often? I get asked these questions a lot, and there's not a real exact answer for every situation because every person's different, every client's different. There's just so many things that come up in people's lives that you can't predict, and there's no general rule. However, there is a best practice. So first and foremost, once you email someone, it's always great to stick with a subject that they know it's you. So for example, let's say you're on the phone with someone, a candidate, a client, whatever it is, you can say, hey, I'm gonna shoot you a follow-up email right now. We'll talk about what we just discussed, or maybe you need to send them something. And so you let them know, I'm gonna put just spoke to you in the subject line, or I'm gonna put Brianna from Techies in the subject line. Like whatever it is, I make sure I tell that person what to look out for. So that's like, they know, it's like that personal connection. They know it's from you. They know they just spoke to you and they're expecting it. It's almost like a gift. Okay, so let's just say you haven't already spoken to them. What I would do is when you're following up, remember to follow up through that thread or through your message before. That's crucial because a lot of times you don't want to mess up and be in someone's spam box. And if you don't follow up through that same message, you might get pushed there. So that applies with people you are already in contact with. So another way to do best email practices and following up through email is if like it's a cold email, because a lot of people are trying to get clients right now and they're so frustrated. They're like, I sent this client 2 messages, they haven't got back to me, they don't like me. That's not true. They just probably haven't read your email. So that's something you guys have to realize, and then you have to keep following up. So people are like, how do I come up with 6 different emails? Because that's what the analytics say as far as how many emails it takes before someone gets back when it's a cold outreach. It takes about 5 to 6 times. That you should note so you're not frustrated. So do you have to come up with 5 or 6 different emails? Absolutely not. Chances are they're not even reading your emails. Now, if you don't want to seem spammy, absolutely change it up, but guess what? That can still be a template and it's only changed a little bit. So you have that first outreach. You then want to follow up. I would do the second follow-up, something different. Then I would do the third follow-up, something like my first email. Then that fourth follow-up is something like that second email. See how I'm just kind of switching off and I'm not putting a lot more context into it because again, we're just gonna assume that nobody read that email. And what you can do this two different ways. You can follow up from that same, like reply all, so they can see how persistent you are. I personally prefer that. I think that's the best practice. Or if you want, you can do new emails every single time and do different subjects, because what if it's the subject that turns somebody off? And then you need to find that subject that really like spoke to them. Now, why don't you just combine the two? And I think the best way to do that would be to reply all so they can see all of your different emails and how persistent you are but maybe every other time you're switching up the subject to see which is the better subject and to see what grabbed them. There's all different ways to do that. But I love those email practices. I think that's the best way to do it. And then also note what's working for you and what's not. And again, there's lots of different ways to do this. So definitely keep note and don't just think that there's one way. So I think the key to this video is best email practices. It's all scattered, but you can still do some really good work and know that there's probably just about 3 solid ways you can do it. So let's recap. One, if you are already emailing with someone, let's say it's a candidate, you want to stay in that same thread because you don't want to get bounced to junk. You're already in that thread. They're already used to you. They've already seen that subject. Now, let me do a little tidbit here, just because this happened today to one of my employees. We have a candidate situation where he said he was interested in 3 different companies. One of the companies, the clients, reached out and said, hey, would love to talk to you. He disappears. He disappears from the recruiter. So she's saying, what do I do? So what I would do is stay in that same thread email so you don't get bounced to junk and change that subject to that particular client that really wants him. And I would say, hey, interview at Google, and then have that message. So that's really crucial. So back up a little bit. We have stay in the same thread, do the reply all. They can see how persistent you are. Then you can also change up the subject, but stay in that same thread. Or if you really want to go for it, you can start new ones. I don't completely suggest it. But again, you can play with the subject as well. And then who knows when your email's getting bounced. But again, don't assume that they are reading your messages and ignoring you. The chances are they're not reading your emails. So you have to have 5 to 6 follow-ups. That is another big takeaway from this video. Emails aren't always looked at, or they're glazed over, or they forget. Let's think about something that I've been always preaching, is that human nature is not to give bad news. Most people don't like confrontation. Most people don't like to say that they're wrong. And in a way, by someone ignoring your emails or forgetting to get back to you after that happens a couple times, then they're all nervous and don't even want to apologize because they're embarrassed. That's silly. So when you're emailing them back, acknowledge that, hey, I'm sure you're busy. Oh my gosh, just had this great weekend. Whatever you want to say. Would love to close the loop here. Let me know either way. Make sure you're giving people an out so they don't feel bad about, either rejecting you or saying sorry or just moving forward, because lots of times people do want to move forward. So email follow-ups, you have to be consistent. You have to do many of them. And then also one tidbit that I think is really important takeaway is then make less questions. So sometimes people send monster emails with I would even say over 3 questions is a lot. So let's just say 5 questions or a paragraph people are sending. A lot of people are busy with all sorts of things that are going on. And so when they see a meaty email or one that needs multiple responses, they're going to save that to later. And lots of times they do forget. It's just an honest mistake. So when that is happening and you need someone to respond to your email, the best practice is to make it short and simple. 1 question. 2 question. And if it takes you 6 emails to get everything you needed, you have it. Okay. And it's very simple. Think of it like this. Do people want to pick up the phone and talk to you, or do they just want to text you? Fortunately, they just want to text you. So think of that's how it is with email. I relate it to let's say you haven't talked to a friend in a while and you're like, oh my God, I have to talk to so-and-so and it's going to take us hours to catch up because it's been so long. You kind of put out that call because it's exhausting. Even though it's something you want to do, someone you want to catch up with and share, your life with, it's still exhausting. And it's still time consuming. So you would rather go the easy route and just update through text a little bit and then have a phone call or whatnot. So remember that recruiting is just like life. It's matchmaking, it's friends, it's so many life decisions. So you have to treat it like that, and you have to think about and relate it to different things and different people you have in your life, and think about how they would handle situations. So this goes with email practices. And I know this video was a little scattered, but it's really good info. So rewatch it again. I would love to know what your guys' favorite email practices are. So make sure you like, subscribe, and keep asking questions, because I love it. I actually talked to someone today who just kind of reached out of the blue, and it was an awesome phone call. It is someone that watches this video, so hopefully you know that I'm talking to you. But this particular person really inspired me, because like the fire behind their voice and the confidence just powered through. So anyways, awesome to connect. I will see you guys next Thursday at noon. Like, subscribe, talk to you soon. And don't forget that money is just the vessel that gets you to do all the amazing things that you want to do. So go do it. See you next week.